Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Divine Alignment. I am joined with a very special guest, Petia, and I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell everyone just a bit about you and what you do.
Thank you so much first for having me. I love that. And I gotta tell you, you are one of 1,000 people who doesn't ask me how to pronounce my name. I love it. Thank you so much. You did it perfectly. So I love that. Love that. About me, it's so fascinating. Sometimes when we connect with people online or we hear them on a podcast, we go check out their work, we go check out their Instagram and website and everything what they're doing. And the thing is that very often we are looking at people who are, I don't want to say arrived because we'll never arrive. It's like a journey that it will never end. I believe it's like eternal journey for us and our soul. But it's like we're seeing them usual is so much better off, right? Because when people look at me now, we talk about it before we hit the record button, I travel the world. I am in a very loving, loyal marriage now. I am in so much satisfaction and peace with my health, with my body, which I used to never be. And we built multiple six-figure business, serving women, serving businesses. They're here to create world-changing abundance and serving with the generational healing. So now it's so easy to look at all of those accomplishments, having 2% global podcast retreats internationally. It's so easy to look and say, well, good for you, Petia, right? I'm still here trying to figure it out, my life and my flow. And I always love reminding people that where we are today, it's not where we're coming from. And when we are sharing the story where we are coming from, that's also not who we are anymore. Because sometimes, and you are such an amazing interviewer, so people keep sharing their stories, right? And when you're interviewing people and you have 5 interviews a day and you keep talking about your past, for me, it would be being emotionally and physically abused by my stepfather, toxic relationship, attempt to suicide, almost 2 decades of bulimia, depression, anxiety, harming my body. Imagine if I would be reiterating those stories. So that is the past me. Those are my experiences, but that's not who I am today. I feel like it's so important though, give people that background, so they can understand hey, if this girl from very small town in Czech Republic with unpronounceable name can build a business that it's fulfilling for her, that it's making a difference, can be in loving relationship with herself, with life, with her husband, why not me? And this is something that I really love, igniting in people. Why not you? And why not now? I feel like so many people, they're living in a when land. When I have the money, when I launch the business, when I leave the corporate, when I'm, engaged, married, pregnant, whatever stage you are in your life, right? We are always looking at the when. When this and this happen, then I will be happy. And it's never true. It might spike ooh, this is amazing. You get engaged or you get a new client or, something amazing happens. You celebrate it, but we cannot live for those moments and those spikes and those ignitions. We get to live day to day and create that peace, create that satisfaction, create that fulfillment day to day. And that's what I'm doing and embodying today. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I will never be. I'm not intending to. That's crazy. Perfect what, right? Yet I have created life that I'm so loved and so supported that there is really nothing better. And I feel like everyone really deserves this.
Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that because I could not agree more. I couldn't agree more because I think that, we always want to hear about people's stories and what they do and all of this, but I think so many people actually get caught up in the story, but really it's not even every day, every moment you can choose again. You can become new. You can become someone else. And so, I mean, hearing everything, I didn't realize oh my gosh, all of these things that you've overcome and that you have created based off of your past, that is just so incredible. But also, I think is so important to see. Like, it's about choosing that every day. So I love that you're also not only helping other people do that, but like you're a living embodying expression of that.
Mm.
So I'm really curious, Patia, like what do you feel like has helped you
Mm.
create and allow for this? Because this is beautiful. Like, this is what we all desire, right? And this is why we're here, and why we're all here, right? Is to really like discover who we are, and not live in pain and suffering. We are here to live, I believe, should we choose to feel good, to live in abundance, to live in health, prosperity, all of these things. So what do you feel like has really helped you over the years to create and cultivate this for yourself?
I love that question, Jasmine. And I feel like it's not like one thing that like tip, I feel like that was like a lot of little moments. Like even when people ask me like, wow, like your life, it's now so rich and so abundant and it looks and feels good, right? Like people can tell. People can tell if you're just like pretending on social media that everything is perfect and then you're not living in integrity and you're not living in embodiment. I feel like especially like this generation here, like has like a BS meter inside. Like we know when someone is like, I don't know about this person. I don't know about this program. Something feels off. So I feel like for me, it was a lot of little steps. And I feel like for me, it was really like, if I would like want to put it in like a bigger areas, I would say like there were 3 steps. And the first was motivation, inspiration, and then impact. So first on my journey, I really needed to be motivated because again, like telling you my past, like depression, anxiety, hurting myself and my body every day, you're living in this like downward spiral, right? And so first I needed the motivation. So instead of listening to the inner critic, to those negative thoughts, I had to literally just mean like brainwash myself. Like I was listening to like Louise Hay and Tony Robbins and Dr. Joe Dispenza, Gabby Bernstein, and Dr. Wayne Dyer, and all these people who I felt that they were bringing me hope, that life can get better. Like when you look at their past, it was like a troubled past. Like Tony Robbins was like completely broke, right? Like they didn't have even like food on the table when he was like growing up. Dr. Wayne Dyer, he was an alcoholic functioning, but he was an alcoholic and very aggressive person. Louise Hay, she was molested as a little girl. And then, in her 50s, she got cancer. She healed herself, created a beautiful publishing company and business. She saved millions of lives. That's what I'm feeling. So I look at all those people and I'm like, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. So that was like really brainwashing myself and making sure that what I'm putting inside of my mind, what I'm putting inside of my life, it's nurturing. Whether it's like, what are you watching? What are you listening? Who are you surrounding yourself with? What people are like influencing you. So that was like the first most important step. It was just like going from the survivor into there is a hope. The second step for me was the inspiration. Now that I was finally like feeling better, I'm like, okay, like I'm feeling better. And it's like, it's kind of like, I see it, and you and me, both plant lovers, right? Like, think about it. It's like you are a seed, you're in a darkness, and you cannot see anything, right? Like, there's nothing. And then suddenly you start peeking out. After the motivation, it's the inspiration when you start peeking out and like looking around, and then you're getting inspired. So instead of comparing yourself, you are getting inspired, like, ooh, this woman, she's doing live events, let me do live events. Me 2019 in Las Vegas, meant for more, 100 participants. I saw a woman doing retreats, and I'm like, wow, like I love this, let's do a retreat. Again, 2019 Bali, my first international retreat. And then I'm like, wow, like this woman podcast, it's so impactful. Like Lori Harder, like I was listening to her podcast and I was like crying and feeling so emotional. I was like, oh my God, like that's like a strange woman story. And I'm getting so like emotional and so inspired. I'm like, what if I do podcast? Me, 5 years later, we have like 500,000 downloads. We have like top 2% podcast in the world globally. So I was getting inspired instead of comparing myself and thinking like, who am I? Who am I thinking I am? What am I doing? just like go for it. I started to follow my curiosity. And listen, I had no idea how to host retreat. I had no idea how to host podcast. Like I was just curious and I started and then I figured it out because we are so afraid. Like, what if I fail? What if people judge me? Like, who cares? Like your life, it's yours. And you're the only person who will live with you until the rest of your life. Like ideally you have a beloved ones and family, you know, hopefully, but if not, it's you with you. So you're the one person that you're really responsible for. So that was the inspiration. And then when you started to do these things, you start be tapping more into your intuition, more into your body. You start to like naturally cleanse everything. You know, I started to tapping into spirituality. What am I eating? What am I drinking? Like that was a long time ago, but like quitting smoking, I quit alcohol. I'm a vegan for past 4 years, you know, and it's just like, it's natural progression. It's not like from day to day, like, let me change my life, but you're just becoming more tapped into yourself, into the divine, into the nature, and you just want to better for yourself and for others. You are becoming more awake to everything that is happening, you know. So that leads me into the third stage, that it's the impact. Now that you know who you are, now that you know that you know, like what like drives you, like your curiosity, your passion, your intuition, you're more tapped in and you're listening. Now you start creating impact, you know. So you're creating the abundance for yourself, for others. You tapped into your calling, your gift, you start owning them, and you're creating impact in your life. And listen, there can be stages that you're going like back and forth. It's
Mhm.
not like nothing in life it's linear, nothing in nature it's linear, nothing in healing it's linear. I don't know about you, Jasmine, but for me it's like, oh, I thought I already healed this, and then you get a slap in the face like, you thought so, let's go deeper. So I feel like nothing it's really linear, but these like were like three big stages that I'm like seeing in my life, that like how I progress. And of course, they're not like specific tools. And, you know, like I tapped into everything. Like I got breathwork certified, NLP certified, Reiki certified, like things that I was really like curious about, you know, doing meditation, getting Qigong certified. So I didn't get something to get something out of it. It was my curiosity and what was guiding me in that moment. And now I'm using all those modalities, you know, like I also studied Kundalini activation process, inner dance, which is absolutely powerful modality. And all those things because I was called to, and all those were helping me on my journey. And now I'm helping my clients.
Oh my gosh. That is so beautiful. And the way that you articulate like this progression, I think is so helpful for people to hear because, I do think that it really does begin with like, we kind of have to like will ourselves at the beginning. Like it's a lot of people are struggling and it does take that using that willpower muscle to fill ourselves up. And I talk about this all the time, like ditch the TV and like listen to something that inspires you, that motivates you. And then as we progress on, I see this happen so often, myself included, like we start in like the personal development and then really like move into the spiritual because it evolves, and then we all of a sudden go from like needing others to fill us up, that now we can fill ourselves up and we tap into these other sources and realms. And I see this in you and it's so beautiful. So there's so many things that you mentioned that I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. And one other thing that I'm really would just like encourage for others is like following your joy, your passion, like what you're sharing. Because here's the thing, like, are you doing like teaching Qigong and Kundalini and like all of these things? It's like, just follow these things that inspire you and that ignite you, because they're like these little breadcrumbs that are that like you have that inspiration for a reason.
Mm.
So I'm so curious now, like what led you to talk about the abundance? Like what made you want to land on like this is what I want to inspire and really like help others create and cultivate and
Mm.
embody? Because I think you do such a like you do exude such a beautiful it's like this divine feminine abundance, right? And it's such a beautiful energy that I desire for so many people. And a lot of people, I believe this is what we're moving into. Absolutely, like this awakening. But how did you land on this and how do you help others now with this?
Mm-hmm. Such a beautiful question, Jasmine. And I feel like for me, I didn't land into it. I feel like the universe literally like kicked my booty, like, hey, you're not listening. I'll force you to listen. Because of all of my past and everything, I was so much in my masculine, but in wounded masculine, like I was like proving myself and try to provide and protect for my family and friends and everyone. But it wasn't coming from a secure place. It was coming from insecure place. And I was like hustling and working really hard. And I was burned out and physically, mentally just exhausted. And so like I was literally forced to like slow down and look at things differently, reconnect with the nature. And that really, really helped me to see that for me, the less I work, the more money I make, the more I'm in a flow, the more magnetic I am. It doesn't have to be true for everyone, Jasmine, because you're absolutely right. The world is shifting, the world is changing. We are like awakening more of the divine feminine who was afraid to speak up, who was afraid to show up, because in the past we were killed for that, right? Like now is finally the time, and there is still countries that you are. Let's not confuse that we live in America and everything. It's like great. It's no, there's still countries that women cannot speak up and show up, and but most of our listeners probably who are listening like are feeling the shift into the feminine, and what I feel like we really get to own the feminine and masculine coming together. Like even in my business, because I went from like very like hard masculine into soft feminine, like I don't want to do anything, it will work out somehow. Like when you first like learn about manifestation, law of attraction, you're like sitting at home, it's like praying for money to come and praying for clients to come, and then you're frustrated this is not working because you're not putting in the inspired action. So I feel like what really helped me to understand it's start with the feminine, start with the flow, start with the sensation, start with owning your gifts, start with the feeling. And then when you're in the divine feminine, because the divine feminine, she's like so powerful and so intuitive, she sees, she feels, she knows. When you're in that stage, then you can step into the sacred masculine. How do I do that? What is the strategy? What is the structure? What is the plan? What is my way? Like I also study human design for over 4 years. So when I look at human design, I am designed to flow. Like most of everything that I'm doing, I am designed to flow. My husband, he's designed to be strategic, analytical, planning. When we come to do things in business, sometimes we are like, well, I want it my way. I was like, no, it's not going to be your way because I'm not strategic. I'm not, I'm not planner. You want me to be magnetic for abundance, then I get to stay in my flow. I get to stay in my trust. I get to stay in my feminine. And of course, like I have 5 people who are working with me on my team. I gotta show up. I gotta like have some structure. It's not just like all, like flow. And I had to learn when to go, and I get to learn when to flow. And when you can learn that, what is your way? What is your unique way? So when women start working with me, like I take them, through the ascension journey, when they're ascending to that like divine version of themselves, that it's truly connected to everything and everyone. But when we start with the generational healing, because so many of my clients, they come and they're like, Petia, I don't know what's happening. I'm doing all the work. I'm listening to the podcast. I'm doing the courses. I'm doing the programs. Like it's not working. And it's not because it's not working, but because it's not just yours, what you're carrying around. So we tap into like a past life. We tap into the hypnosis. We tap into like really healing the old patterns, her beliefs that might not even be hers, and thankfully like I embrace the gifts for me of being also psychic intuitive, because I'm with my clients and we're talking and suddenly I see in front of me like their past life, you know what I mean? So 10 years ago I would think I'm crazy. Now I'm like, thank God that I'm embracing all my gifts, right? So the first stage, it's really just you with you really understanding who you are. Inner child healing, human design, hypnosis, like deep healing, so you know who you are, so you know what you stand for, so you know why you came here. when you're really confident and unapologetic about who you are, then we take you to the second stage, which is more of the business and impact building, which is, you with the world. When you know, like, okay, I know who I am, I know what I want to be doing, because sometimes we do things we could be doing and we really don't want to do them, and we do them because we think that's the only way to create abundance or fulfillment, and that's not true. So the second stage, it's really like building her business. Like 9 out of 10 women who work with me, they're business owners, service providers, coaches, healers, visionaries, because I only work with women who want to help others. I want to like elevate the frequency of the earth, of the world. So I had to teach them how to be abundant, how to have a money mindset, that it's right in a place. So many women, they're feeling unworthy, undeserving to be charging. And it's so painful for me, because I want women to create world-changing abundance so they can invest in anything and everything that their heart desires, and create a space for them for the joy, the fulfillment, the freedom. So in a second stage, we really look at the impact she wants to be creating. Not everyone wants to have a business. Most of the women who work with me, they do, because they want their freedom and the impact and the legacy. And then the third stage, it's really stepping into the divine. Now you know who you are. Now you know how you're serving the world. Now it's like the beautiful blanket that you wrap all around it with that energy, like you're tapping more into the divine, like really balancing the feminine, the masculine, tapping into even deeper spirituality, and knowing how to use it in this 3D world, where you still get to pay the bills and you still get to get do your taxes. So we're blending it all together, and it's so powerful. Like, I saw it time and time again in my one-on-one clients, on my retreats. In March, we are launching also Mastermind, because I feel like women who, like you said, are awakening, like they want to be more in community, they want to be supported, they want to be surrounded by like-minded women. And so many women, they're just not. Their family don't get it. Like most of their family and friends, they're 9-to-5 employees, they will never get that you are woo-woo and you want to create like abundance through like being yourself. So we really teach women how to be like richly rewarded. We teach them about, I used to have social media marketing agency for a couple of years. So we teach them about how to really connect to themselves, but also like business, branding, marketing, but from a flow space. It's from a space of knowingness and intuition and your own way. So it's not cookie cutter. So we are supporting them in such a deep space that they're feeling seen. Imagine if every single woman feels seen and heard and really like acknowledges her gifts, like how powerful she would be. So that's what we'll be focusing on our 9 months mastermind in March, where we're bringing women together. We are helping them with like deeper healing, with the business, with the strategies, with the community, with the abundance. We are bringing in like business strategies, CFO, that because I learned on my journey, Jasmine, I help women to make more money. Doesn't always mean that you keep the money. It means like, oh, I made the money and like now I don't want to work for next 3 months, or I want to invest in this, and it's all shiny objects, So I'm like, okay, now that I know how to teach women how to make money, let's teach them how to create the relationship with money that what it's in your highest good. When to invest, when it's just a shiny object, what is important to you. So all of that, we're bringing it into our mastermind.
That's so beautiful. And I couldn't agree more. I feel like, and of course, money is just a reflection of all of these other areas in our life. So if we struggle with our health or with relation, like it's all the same, but money is just a really beautiful tool to actually look at these other areas. And as you were talking, I was receiving like this visual that's, I think, so beautiful for people, that a lot of people think that what they're doing isn't working, right? They're like, I'm listening to the podcast. And it's like, actually, sometimes we don't realize that it's like, we're adding up, we're adding up, we're adding up, we're adding up. And then it's like, we're going to get to a tipping point. You're going to get to a tipping point where then all of a sudden, all of that work that you put in begins to really come to fruition and show you. Like, I noticed that within my life too. I mean, when I asked you at the beginning, like what led you here? And it really is like these small steps, right? And so like, it's really easy to think as we're on the journey that these things aren't working. I'm not getting the results, but it's like, stay the path and keep trusting, because it's you're going to get there. And of course, like you also said, time is not linear. Things are not linear. Like we're going to continue to see these things, but you're going to be more equipped and you're going to have that awareness and that higher consciousness to be able to view things from a new perspective. And that makes moving through them so much easier. And but also I'm really, what's your human design? I'm so curious.
I'm a 5-1 sacral generator.
Okay. I figured you were a generator just based on your energy.
Because you can feel me. What are you?
I'm a 3-5 projector.
I knew that. It's just like, it's beautiful, you know, because my spiritual wife, she's a projector. She's 1-3, this projector. And I feel like projectors have like such a different energy of like, they really see through you. Like you almost feel like naked, like, hey, I see you and I see the better way. Would you like to hear that better way? Right? Like you really gotta be recognized and invited to these like bigger things. And like any single time that I'm deciding something bigger, like I'm texting or calling her because she has a higher perspective. You know, like I know in my body, if something, it's not like I'm asking permission, right? It's if I am like this or that, you know, if I'm in between and both are like lighting me up, like how do you feel about that? But it's really beautiful. And it goes back to like knowing yourself. When you know yourself and the people around you, it changes tremendously. Like when I started to study human design over 4 years ago, it literally changed my life and my business, because the way I'm guiding projectors, it's completely different how I will guide money Jenny or generators, you know. And it's so different. Like how, like what is your authority?
Splenic.
Splitting, yeah. But you know, for example, if I have like emotional, you know, authorities and they like need more time, like when I have a emotional projector and they literally like need like days or weeks to like sleep on things, like marinate it, you know. And I'm like, but I know right away, like it's a yes or no. And it's like in the past I would be like so impatient, and now I'm like, you take your time, I will keep rolling. You know what I mean? Like the invitation is there. So it's really beautiful.
Yeah, well, okay. So selfishly, I'm so curious. What is your biggest advice then for projectors?
Ooh, I love that. And listen, it's not selfish, it's smart. Let's turn that wording around. Okay. No, I absolutely love that. And I feel like for what I teach like my clients who are projectors, follow your joy and follow your curiosity, because that's what makes you like people will be looking at you. Like it's like you doing the things that really light you up, that really like you're curious about. Like when you're going like deeper into that, like people will like bring the invitations, they will recognize you, but you're people. So don't waste the energy on the people that who don't recognize you and don't see you. Like I see that in many projectors who either don't know like they're projectors, or they're just starting on their journey, so they're learning about this human experiment, you know, human design. But like the more you are like in your aura and you know, and you don't waste your energy on like, oh, but I know that, don't do that, that's not going to work. It will be like 1 year in and out. You're going to save a lot of your energy and you're going to create so much more impact, you know. Like I saw that on my spiritual wife. She started to study human design like 2 years ago, and she's like so much deeper in it than me. She's like an expert. Like I message her and like I'm a 1-5, like 5-1. So it's the one, it's for me the unconscious. So I love research and investigating. For her, it's conscious. So she's like so deeply in that. But like I see how much she has changed on how much freedom and abundance she created in her life, because she started to like respect that she's a projector, respect that not everybody's asking her for advice. She's not supposed to be giving advice to everyone. And like, I feel like for projectors, it's like stay in your lane and stay surrounded by people who really recognize you and people who really invite you. So for you, like women or, you know, your clients, like commenting and coming to you, and like when you really feel seen, that's when you can really shine and make the biggest impact too.
100%. No, this is I so appreciate hearing, because the thing about human design for me is it's like it was life-changing for me as well to learn about, I mean, especially being a projector in a in a mainly generator and manifesting
Mhm.
generator society.
Mhm.
And I 100% feel this, like learning like, oh, like I should only be working like 3 hours a day. I was like, but how am I supposed to make money? And how am I supposed to like make all of this stuff work? But it's quite wild when you actually learn how to work with your energy, and everyone's different. Like I encourage people to dive into their human design all the time, because it's when you can understand yourself, you understand how your energy works, then all of a sudden you're able to truly serve and be of service in a way that is actually easy and in flow, rather than like trying to make it work and trying so hard. Yeah, everything that you shared was like very resonant. And here's the thing too, like I have to remind myself of these things every day, because
Yeah.
like I can see, like you were sharing, like I didn't realize like my whole life, like why I was seeing people so deeply and thinking it was my own, thinking it was my
Mhm.
own, right? Because I was like, oh, like that person's really struggling. And then I felt it.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, for me, I've shared about this with people a lot. And it wasn't until like I really dove into this that I was able to see. And so these reminders every day, I think of like, oh, this is how my energy works. And so I could never hear these things enough, because it's like that confirmation as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely. And I feel like it all starts with you. You got to understand yourself. You got to understand your own unique way. And that's why I'm not here to tell people what to do. I'm here to guide them back to themselves and to feel empowered, to feel seen, and give them the tools and teach them the modalities. But it's not like Petia's way, it's the only way, right? Like you create your own way. But I really encourage everyone to like tap into the human design. Like if you don't want to like, just like going deep into it, just ask Uncle Google, look at the basics, just look at your, look at your design, look at your profile, look at your authority. But it all starts with just embodying your design. It just really all starts with like looking at your strategy and authority. Those three things will change your life. The profile, it's next, for you being the 3-5, you go through a lot of experimenting, experiencing, a lot of like getting your, I like to say getting hands dirty. And my husband, he's like, no, honey, that doesn't sound good. I was like, okay, so putting your hands in a clay, like you're very like, let me go, let me try it. But I'm 5 also. So I'm consciously or unconsciously, the 5 are the leaders. The 5 are the ones who are creating a new way of being, and you are so beautiful and amazing because you will go and try it everything on your own. And they're like, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Like this doesn't work. Like you will go and my husband, it's like, like unconsciously 3. And it's like, I see it on him. Like you don't learn by somebody telling you, you learn by going and experiencing it. Like you have to go and literally like try it yourself. And then it's like when I have clients who are like 3s in their profile, I tell them because like, like I'm here to like mentor them, and then they go and try it. It's like, Petia, you are right. I was like, it's okay. You had to go and try it. My husband is the same thing. Like he will ask me. I don't give advice like anymore unless there is ask feedback. And he asked me, I tell him, he goes, mess up, mess up, mess up, mess up, trial, trial, error, error, error. And they're like, oh, 2 years later, oh, you were right. Like with his business partners, like right from the beginning, I was like, yeah, I don't think this is the right person or right thing. Or he had to go and try it. I'm like, I'll be here on the sideline loving on you. So for you, Jasmine, but for you, it's really beautiful because as the 5, like you're really creating a unique, beautiful, new paradigms, new ways, like you're innovator, it's different. So I love that.
Yeah, it's so funny. I'll never forget. I heard the advice someone was saying for 3s. It's like someone can tell you like don't go into the ditch. It's trouble in there, but it's like 3s, like they have to go in and find out what happens in the ditch. And then the 5 is like, okay, now I want to share with you everything that I learned. And so all of the
Yep.
other numbers, they'll listen, right? The
Mhm.
1s and 2s and 4s will be like, oh, that's good advice. So I love you. Thank you. I love like that express or description of it, because it is like it it would have saved me, I think, a lot of judgment of myself if I just like knew like it's okay. It's okay to just go and try. And I have that grace, and um compassion for myself now. It's like,
Mm.
I just had to try it. It's okay. We learned. Like, it's always learning, right?
That is so
So
beautiful.
yeah, well, this has been so wonderful, Petia. I feel like I have so many more questions for you. You're just, and just being in your energy is like, you can tell that you are such a beautiful, beautiful embodiment of this work. So I really just strongly, highly encourage everyone to go and check out all of Petia's work and all that you have a podcast, definitely go and check that out. So where can we find you more? Where can we connect with you more? For everyone listening?
So my favorite place really to connect, it's Instagram at Petia Kulebova. I know Jasmine will put it in the show notes because nobody can pronounce it but her. My
It's because of our
website.
similar origin. We get it.
Yes, we do. My website is the same thing, petiakolobova.com, and also like to learn about what we are doing right now, like in my business, like the mastermind, or if I take any like one-on-one clients, because I take only few, I love my spaciousness. Sometimes I act like a projector. I'm like, I told my husband, I was like, I'm not going to work more than 3 hours a day. So I don't know. I feel like there is a little projector inside of me. But it's petiakolobova.com/links. So you can learn everything there. My podcast, my mastermind, everything is right there.
Beautiful. Well, and I think that's also the paradigm we're shifting into of we get to work as much as we want, right?
Amen. Amen.
Like,
My husband, it's money Jenny, so he loves multitasking and working a lot. I was like, you go and enjoy. I don't have that need. And also, like, I have a defined ego, so I don't need to prove myself to anyone anything. I'm like, I am good. He has an open ego, and he was like, look what I'm doing. Look, look. I'm like, good for you. I don't need to work 10 hours today. I don't need to work till 10 p.m. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like 3 p.m. and I'm good.
yeah, no, that's my time too. That's my time too. I love that so much. Well, thank you so much for sharing. We will definitely link everything in the show notes for you all. Go and check her out, be in her beautiful energy, learn from her. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
I know, I know. And thank you everyone for listening. And until next time, I'm sending you all infinite love and light.